I'm Rachel Griffin. I'm the head of the primary and the lower school, principal here at Gulliver, and today's our day of AI, and this is a really exciting day for us. It's giving children the opportunity to understand more about what AI is, thinking about ways to use AI safely, thinking about the fact that AI can actually exist and be infused in all of the learning that they do. So we have all of our teachers that are working in science and art and music and Spanish, technology. It's not just a technology piece, but we are kind of looking at AI to think about what are the ways in which it can kind of support us and really kind of expose us to creativity and think about new and possible other ways of doing things that will enhance our learning.
Why is it important for students to be exposed with AI and robotics nowadays?
I think it's really about kind of expanding your world, thinking about having ideas and being able to carry those ideas out in meaningful ways. And so it's about tinkering with something and exploring, bringing out the critical thinking and the questioning, and how might you find the answers to the questions that you might have, and go a little bit more deeply into research, or try something that maybe take a risk, like you haven't tried something before, but this might expose you to something new or a different way of thinking about it. But also it's really about sort of efficiencies and thinking about ways that we can kind of do something more efficiently, and I think there's an evolutionary process there.
What do you hope students will take away from today's AI and robotic event?
My hope is that they have a great time. Learning is always fun, that it's exposure to something new. It expands their minds a little bit and thinking about opportunities and possibilities. Perhaps for some it may actually even be thinking about a future career pathway, or an interest that they're kind of curious about. I think it's we're working with the entrepreneurs and of the future, and so how do we think about that and all the ways that they might possibly kind of see themselves. And so having this chance to kind of engage with this type of learning, I think is a really it's like a beginning which might unleash something, that potential and that possibility going forward.
How do you think AI and robotics will shape the future of education?
Human element is so important, and it's always going to be, teachers are going to have that chance to kind of work very specifically with students to be able to kind of learn more about them, be able to, support them in what they're learning, but also that creativity, the passions, and the expansion of all of those things, so important. But I think it can be a really useful tool for students to be able to, as I mentioned, sort of either continue learning, extend their learning, maybe even support them with their learning, being able to possibly